여유롭게 달려와 내일은 더 빛나지 당연 yeah. 내 삶은 shine like a diamond 괜히 해서 뭐해 걱정 I got no worries.
Good evening, good evening, good evening. I am your host, Monique Denton. Listen, I am extremely excited about this show we're going to have this evening. It is informative. It is a topic that impacts thousands, I'm going to say millions of women, and women also in the African American community. But I want to welcome you to Sisters Inspire Sisters Table Talk. We are back. We was out last Thursday. We missed everyone, but let me tell you, the Boss Tour in Charlotte, we had a phenomenal time. That Boss Tour was on fire. Okay, there were some sisters up in that Boss Tour that really brought the house down. So I want to shout out all my Charlotte sisters and say thank you for being there and thank you for supporting Sisters Inspire Sisters. Again, I'm Monique Denton. I am your host. Please like, share, invite someone to attend this broadcast. But I want to right now just really introduce our guest this evening. And our guest is Miss Kisha Jones. And Miss Kisha is an educator. Miss Kisha is a school counselor, as well as a certified life coach. So Kisha, just take it away and tell us a little bit about yourself.
Yes, my name is Kisha Jones. I am a school counselor as well as a certified life coach and an educational consultant. I'm a mom of two beautiful boys, and I'm here tonight to discuss the mental and physical effects of fibroids.
Wow. So this is really interesting. One, I just want to say hello to everyone. Hello to our sister, Tijuana. Hello to Levada Palmer. Oh, Levada Palmer is saying, yes, I'm here for this. Yes, Sarah. So Levada is here to support you, Kisha. Your sisters are in the building. Okay. So I'm just excited that we are talking about this, and that we're talking about it publicly. And I want to thank you for joining us and sharing your story with us first. Sisters Inspire Sisters, sharing what you went through and your journey. So tell us a little bit about your journey with fibroids. And then sometimes we talk about the physical effects, but we don't talk a lot about what it does mentally. Yes. So really, looking forward to hearing those types of effects because we don't know if it's impacting it. I know that sometimes women have fibroids and aren't even aware.
Yes.
So, okay. Yes. Tell us a little about your journey.
Okay, with my journey began, I'm going to say around 2015. I started having the symptoms, heavy bleeding and cramping. However, I just felt that was just part of the cycle. I didn't really realize that I had fibroids until I went to the doctor. And at this time, it wasn't the same doctor that I have now. I have a different one from back in 2015. And I had said to him, I'm having a heavy flow. I'm having cramping. So then he examined me and said that I had fibroids. But he said that they were very small. He said they're very small and they're only 2. I'm like, well, they may be small and it's only 2, but I'm in a lot of pain. So he prescribed Lupron, which is a pill, and it's supposed to help with the bleeding, not so much with the cramping, but with the bleeding. But it wasn't helpful. And then so I started to do research of my own, and even though there isn't much research as far as what actually causes fibroids, some of the factors were vitamin D deficiency, obesity, as well as diet and hair relaxers. So I stopped getting perms in 2017. It didn't help. I removed beef from my diet completely from 2017 until around 2019. No beef. That still it didn't help. I looked for holistic things. So I was taking wound pills. It didn't work. And so every month, physically, I would be anxious when it was time for me to start my menstrual. It controlled my life. It was like my thermostat. It controlled the temperature of my life. And it was not a great way of life. It was not, because I had to plan everything around it. So I'm sorry, we're back to 2017. We're in 2022 now.
Right.
2021, I decided to finally have the surgery after months, well, not every month. The majority of the months I was in pain, but there were some months I didn't have any pain, but I wouldn't know because there wasn't anything that would indicate, oh, it's coming now. The pain is coming now. I could be sitting here fine right now, and then in 5 minutes, doubled over in pain. So my breaking point was one day I was getting on a plane. I was fine before I boarded. As soon as I boarded and sat on the plane, I was in excruciating pain. We're already on the plane. I didn't want to cause a scene. I didn't want to, cause anything. It was a short plane ride. I was coming from North Carolina to New York City. By the time we landed, I had to be wheeled off in a wheelchair. I couldn't walk. I was in a lot of pain. And at that very moment, I decided to get the surgery. As I stated in 2015, I had a different doctor. I switched doctors around 2019, I believe it was. I have an African American female gynecologist, and
Mhm.
she was very thorough. Like when I told her, she was like, "Yes, she examined me. You do have fibroids." She insisted that I get a pelvic sonogram to see exactly the size, where they're located, and once I did that, then we decided that it was best for me to have surgery. Now,
Wow.
prior to the surgery, because I like to research, I need to know exactly what's going on. So I did my research. Um, I know there are different types of treatments. Birth control, I was not interested in that.
Mhm.
Then they have the a hysterectomy. I wasn't interested in that either. And then a myomectomy. I
Mhm.
was interested in that as well. And then they had what I finally decided to do was the uterine fibroid embolization.
Mhm.
With that, what happened is I chose that one because it was minimal invasive surgery and the recovery time is shorter than the myomectomy as well as the hysterectomy. Now, with the myomectomy, people recommend that for those who plan to have children in the future. As I stated, I'm a mom of two, so I have my children. And with the myomectomy, there's a chance that the fibroids will grow back.
Wow.
So,
Okay. So
that-
let's you said a lot. So I just want to unpack some of this. One is, and I've never heard of this, that you were actually told that it could be perm in your hair, the chemicals in your hair,
yes,
right? And another thing, which is probably a myth, is that you said you were diagnosed with two small fibroids. And
yes,
usually what the doctors say is that if they're small, oh, you don't have to worry about them. They're not going to bother you. They won't cause any pain.
yep.
They're just here. They might grow. Chances are they might grow, and then you could deal with them later. So when you finally had the surgery, were they still the same size or had they grown larger?
Had three. By the time I had the surgery, I had two small ones, which was the size of your fingertip, and one the size of a fist.
Wow.
Yes.
Wow. And now, did they cause um, like prolonged menstruals, or was it some months you would have a cycle and some months you wouldn't have a cycle? How did that work? And then the pain
Okay. So every month I had a cycle.
every month. Okay.
And then it skipped. My cycle would last around 5 to 6 days. And the pain, it would be debilitating. So it was missed days at work. It interfered with my life, like it interfered with my personal, with my professional, daily activities. And like I said, I had to plan my world around it. Like I said, I called it my thermostat. It controlled my temperature.
Wow. So I just want to add in really quick, and I just love this because I said it once before. I'm just going to have to say it again, that the women in your circle are here supporting you. There are so many comments here. I'm here. Who is that? Gayla says, I'm here. You have Barbara High from California supporting my cousin Kisha. Very proud of you. Geraldine Ray is here with hearts. I'm so proud of my line sister. You have, here's supporting my daughter Kisha. Miss Annette Jones. You have Deborah M here. The ladies are here supporting you. And thank you
That's
so much.
wonderful.
Yes, I absolutely. And this is such a great topic. So one of the things that we don't talk about, and you know, and I'll share also that I had some challenges, and I've never shared this, you know, besides personally, I've had some challenges with fibroids also. And I will tell you, so I have grandchildren. Okay, I have grandchildren, but when I tell you I suffered for years, the pain with me was excruciating, in addition to some other challenges that I had. And finally in 2020, I decided, you know what, that's it.
Mhm.
I'm just, it for me, it would be like the pain would start a week before and almost go up until a week after. So when you say that it literally controlled your life, it literally does control your life. And that's the things that we don't look at, you know, and it's like, okay, we just gonna deal with it, right? Because we're strong, especially Black women. Oh, we're gonna deal with it. It'll be okay. A couple of cramps here, a couple of cramps, you know, I'll get something, I'll take something for it. And what I want to know is we don't talk about the mental health, you know, the how it impacts you mentally. So I finally started identifying, I'm like, I must be having PMS. And I don't know, you know, if that's a real thing or not, but there could have been you know, there could have been a relationship between that and the fibroids and the menstrual. But what were the things that you experienced mentally, and then how did you know?
Mentally, like, because my menstrual was clockwork. So I knew exactly when it was going to come. And like, I'm going to say, like, days before it, I would just become very anxious, irritable, because it's like, I don't know, this may be a good month. I always had the heavy bleeding. That
Mm-hmm.
never changed. But like I said, there were some months to where I didn't have any pain, but the majority of the months I did. And it was excruciating. Every month I would be like, okay, this is it. I'm not going to deal with this anymore. I'm going to go, I'm going to take care of it. And then when it's over, I'm like, oh, okay, I can wait. Like,
Exactly.
through. And then the next one, oh God, I don't know how, you know, how it's going to be. But when I tell you, like, the level of pain that I was in, it was really, it was tough. It was tough. And like I said, my final straw was that situation on the plane. And I
So
was like, I have to do something about this.
when you were taken off the plane in a wheelchair because you couldn't even walk, did you go straight to the hospital? Has there been any instances where you literally went to the emergency room?
No, I didn't go to the emergency, like, as I'm gonna say, like, the past, actually, from since the pandemic,
Mhm.
like, it's been, you know, and I'm like, if I can avoid going to the emergency room, I'm going to, because I know I'm gonna get through it.
Right.
No, it's just the going through that was tough. And like I said, I will become very, very anxious, because it's like, I know that it's coming, but I don't know if it's going to be a good month or not.
Right. And now, how did that impact your relationships? So let's talk about personal and let's talk about work relationships. Sometimes they call us angry Black women, right? During that time, let's just keep it real, ladies. We
Right.
might actually be angry Black women, but how did that, how did it impact your relationships, first personal and then at work?
Well, personal, everyone who was in my circle that knew what I dealt with, they were always great. They were always understanding. I think that they felt like really bad for me because they know the level of pain that I was in. As far as work is concerned, what I used to try to do is, like, 3 days before, I would start taking Tylenol to try to get it in my body, to try to get enough in so that it's not as painful, because if I waited until I started to feel the pain, it was game over. So it wasn't. I would sometimes I just wouldn't be able to go to work. Between the pain and the flow, I just wouldn't be able to go to work. But as I'm going to say, as far as I'm concerned, I wasn't PMSing or the angry Black woman. People may beg to differ, but from my perspective, I felt that I handled that part okay.
Okay. So what were, and I'm interested to see if any of your supporters, because there is a whole lot, like I said, on here, you have Deborah. You even have Joseph, extended family supporting Kisha. Congrats. So what's so great about this is also you coming on and sharing your story. We oftentimes don't like to talk about personal things,
Mm.
because it's personal. And a lot of times we don't like to talk about these types of things. But when we talk about it, we bring awareness.
Yes.
How has your life changed? So, since you had the surgery, what are the differences? What are the things that you recognized immediately that were different in your life?
My quality of life. Honestly, I'll discuss the surgery. I was in a lot of pain after the surgery. They were supposed to take 2 weeks. It took me 3 weeks, but it was well worth it because since then I've had my menstrual and I've been I've been okay. What I have learned is when I talk about it, I've learned how many people that I work with. I'm also in a book club. I've learned that they suffered from fibroids. Some women in my book club have had the same surgery that I had because like it's considered like a new surgery. So and I've just learned that I pain is not normal and we have to stop normalizing it. And that's what I did. I normalized it until it got to a point to where I couldn't normalize it anymore.
That is so key. If someone, and you also have, I just want to say, Barbara Gray is here. I'm always here for you. So I just have to shout because family is so important. I just have to mention that because the support is amazing. But what you just said, if someone can hashtag that or put that in the comments, pain is not normal. Pain, it just isn't. And a lot of times we're like, okay, it's going to go away, in a couple of days where I could get through this and it's okay. And it might not just be in this area, it can be in other areas. How many
Yeah,
times do we actually, ignore pain?
yeah.
And what I'll do is, I mean, just sharing with you, and I struggled, I'm going to say, for at least 10 years,
Mhm.
going through it. And it got to the point where I'm like, this is it. I'm finished. I'm done. And a lot of times, I know the doctors that I had, and kudos to you for finding a Black female doctor, I ended up finding one as well.
Great.
And by that time, I'm like, look, this is it. Okay, I cannot do this. Whatever I need to do is what I want to do. So the what I did, and again, I had some other challenges, is I did have a full hysterectomy.
Okay.
And what I will tell you is some of the myths of what happens, like you automatically go into menopause or this happens, a lot of that is not true. But
Okay.
it has been absolutely life changing for me since October 2020. It
Okay.
has been, I don't have those months where it's like, I used to literally say, okay, I have one good week out of every month,
Mhm.
one good week where I feel good, one good week where I'm normal. I don't have to say that anymore. And that hasn't been my experience. But we do get to that breaking point.
Yes.
So after your surgery, now you say that so my recovery, I want to say it was less than 2 weeks. It was mildly invasive, even though it was a full, because, there's all different types of
Yes.
procedures that they do now. And this was in
It's
20.
laparoscopic for you, right?
Yes,
Yes.
exactly. So, what was your recovery period like for those that are looking at having different procedures and that are at the point where it's like, okay, you know what, that's it. You know,
Okay.
I want to do
So
something about it.
the it's supposed to be 2 weeks.
Mhm.
Mine was 3 weeks. I think also because the doctor that I had, he explained everything to me. He said, because I said to him, well, I'm iffy about surgery because I've heard that they can come back. And he said, with this surgery, he said I'm very aggressive.
Mhm.
So you're going to be in a lot of pain. He said there are some doctors. So I'll explain the procedure. The procedure is they in my groin area, they insert like a catheter in which they expel these little micro beads, and the beads attack the fibroids,
Mhm.
which drains the blood, and that kills the fibroid.
Wow.
Because this is tissue dying, that is where the pain comes in. And he explained that there are doctors that they don't insert a lot of the balls or whatever to like make it not as painful, but they also don't get all of the fibroids. So he told me, he said, I'm going to be aggressive and it's going to be painful. And I was like, okay. It was extremely, I'm not gonna lie. I had natural childbirth and natural childbirth wasn't as painful as this procedure.
Okay. I did not expect you to say that. But I did not expect you to say, okay, all right, so keep going. This is good. Listen, y'all, this is good. This is good information. Okay. So it was painful.
It was, yes, it was painful. But as always, we got through it. I got through the pain.
Right.
And like I said, it's worth it because I'm not anxious anymore. When it's time for my menstrual, I don't have to plan everything around it. It lets you know, like I said, that pain is not normal because the pain is gone. I don't have the pain anymore.
Wow. So when did you see? So now let's go back to the mental health, and just to let you know some of the comments is that I understand your pain. I had the same thing happen to me, and I had to have emergency surgery. The pain sometimes was unbearable that you really just wanted to die. My surgery was in 1992. Such an important discussion topic. So many women are suffering, and that is absolutely true. In silence, and pain is not normal. So I just want to thank everyone for sharing. Thank you for your comments. And thank you for supporting this topic. Right. So now, when did you notice the change in your, let's just say in your mental health? When did you notice a difference in that? How long after the surgery?
I'm going to say the first menstrual cycle after the surgery, because after the surgery, like I said, I was in a lot of pain, and mentally I was like, did I make the right decision? I lost a lot of weight. I couldn't eat because I was in so much pain. They did give me painkillers, but it wasn't working. And eventually, the pain went away, and I was nervous up until it was time for my next cycle because I didn't know what to expect. So that's why my mental health started improving after that cycle, because I was like, oh, okay, it worked.
So the anxiety was setting in anticipation of,
yes, because I didn't know, because they said that I was only supposed to take 2 weeks to recover, but it took me 3 weeks to recover. And I'm like, was I supposed to be in this amount of pain? And oh my goodness, what am I going to expect the next month? And so I still was going through the mental impact, even though I had the surgery, and up until the December menstrual, and then I was okay.
So I just want to go back to that with the pain. So we have a couple of questions, but I want to go back to that with the mental health, because you brought up something really important. But one of the questions are, so do you have pain now during your menstrual cycle? So you don't have any pain?
No pain.
Wow. So one of the questions are, so is it not normal during the menstrual cycle? So I'm going to say this. I have heard that it's not normal, but I don't know. However, that leads to another interesting show where, Kisha, we love to have you back. And it would be great if we can get, and I'm going to reach out, if we can also have a GYN or OBGYN doctor that will join us and that could answer some of these other questions. But now, right, so you don't have any pain anymore during your menstrual cycles?
I have no pain. No.
Okay. And are your menstrual cycles normal?
Yes.
Okay. So one of the things that you brought up with how it impacts your mental health, and you were talking about after the surgery, wondering, okay, how this is going to be, how the next cycle is going to be, the anticipation of whether or not there's going to be pain, that creates anxiety right there. That's a shift in the mental health.
Yes.
That's a shift in how we feel, and just having to worry about that. So even those that might not be suffering maybe the way you did or suffering the way I did, but no, you are going to suffer during that time. And thinking about, oh my goodness, I have to deal with this. What am I going to do?
Mhm.
That might be a sign that you should definitely consult a physician to find
Yes,
out more. When would
yes.
you recommend? Now, you say it started in 2016. Um, you had the surgery. How many years later?
I had 20, like 6, 7 years later.
Okay. Okay. And like I said, and for me, it had been 10 years. And again, we're back to, pain is not normal. We should,
Mhm.
6 years, 7 years, when those things start to happen immediately, we should start to seek help.
Yes,
In terms of, you did say that you have two children.
yes.
Um, if you wanted to have more children, can you have more children with the procedure that you had?
So, I said that it was fairly new. So based off of some of the research that they've done, women have had, children after this surgery.
Okay. Okay. So listen, ladies, are you I hope there are some ladies out here taking notes, because one of the things and a couple of the myths, and you have, testimony right here, is that one is they are still doing research. It is a new procedure. There have been women that have had children after this procedure. One of the myths that I could speak to you about also is that after a hysterectomy, they say that you go straight into menopause. That was not my experience. That definitely is a myth. So you really need to seek, if you're in these type of situations or you're suffering, and you want to seek help, you really need to get medical advice. Google is good, but we can't always determine. I will Google something in a minute. We can't. There are some things. It's like, oh my goodness, my elbow hurts. Let me Google it. With that. So there are times we have to seek medical attention. So we have another question by Deborah N. And Deborah said, does this predominantly affect African American women?
Yes, 80% of Black women, as compared to 70% of white women, will develop fibroids. And also, fibroids are both asymptomatic and symptomatic. So there are women who right now have fibroids, but because they're asymptomatic, they don't realize that they have them.
Wow. That was a great question, Deborah. Thank you. And thank you for knowing that. So 80% of Black women will develop fibroids or might have fibroids compared to 70% of white women.
Yes.
Those numbers are extremely high. We have another question here. Okay. Any unanticipated complications during the procedure?
The level of pain was unanticipated. Like, I knew I was going to be in pain,
Right.
but the level of pain, I did not anticipate that. And I did not anticipate that it was going to take me 3 weeks to recover, as opposed to the 2 weeks that the doctor originally stated. But
Wow.
that was it.
Thank you. And I just want to also add and let you know, Kisha, because I know that you can't see the comments, that Overseer Annette Simmons is here, Apostle Annette Simmons supporting Sister Kisha and everyone. Great topic. Again, thank you so much, ladies, for joining in and for being here and for supporting. So if you can leave us with three tips for the sisters, three tips for Black women, three tips for women in general that might be experiencing some of these things, what would those three things be?
My 3 tips would be: get your annual exam every year. That's why it's called annual, not every 3 years. Every year. It's called an annual for a reason. And if you do have fibroids, do your research and you choose, along with your doctor's advice, which surgery or which method of treatment you want that's best for you, along with your doctor. Like, if you don't feel comfortable, if they're suggesting something and you don't feel comfortable, speak up. And the last thing is, listen to your body.
Mm.
And like, the question was, as far as, is pain normal? It may be, but the intensity of pain that I was suffering every month was not normal.
Wow. Those three were really good. And I would hope that someone would put those in the comments. And let's just be honest, ladies. I know there's a few gentlemen listening to the broadcast, but let's be honest about those annual exams. Okay? Let's be honest. How many of us, if you could just raise your hand in the chat or just say me, let's be honest, how many of us are out there getting those annual exams done? And I know after a certain age, there's also the annual breast exams. How many of us are doing that? How many of us are getting those annual exams? So one of the things that you told us was annual exams. Get those done. It is extremely important, especially for us. And not just there's so many different ailments that, we deal with. High blood pressure, diabetes. There's so many different things. It's important that we are making sure that we're taking care of our health, because our physical health impacts our mental health and vice versa. So this is interesting. I asked if you raise your hand or put something in the chat. Thank you so much for Tijuana. Thank you for joining us. Just raise your hand really quickly, or you can give us a thumbs up if you are getting those annual exams.
Raising my hand.
Right. Exactly. Okay, I gotta raise it up a little bit. Okay, I have to catch up, y'all. So listen, that is important. And then the other thing that you said, in terms of pain, being in tune with your body, right? Listening to your body. When you are in pain, your body is telling you something.
Mm-hmm.
And then the fact that you talked about, number one, there's different procedures. Do your research. You can decide. I see those I see those thumbs up. I love it, love it, love it. Geraldine Reyes says, thank you for sharing the tips. Deborah says, I am. Absolutely love it. So listen, Kisha, this was amazing. Okay. This was informative. This was empowering. If anything, and again, thank you so much for sharing your story with us. And
thank you for allowing me on this platform to share, because this is my first time publicly sharing my story.
Listen, okay, so y'all know Sisters Inspire Sisters, Sis Table Talk. This was, I'm going to say, first of all, I'm glad that you felt comfortable enough to share it with us. And one thing that I know is that your support system is strong.
Yes, it is. I have the best people in my life.
Oh my goodness. Your support system showed up, okay? Showed up in the comments. So I really, really appreciate you for coming on. I appreciate those tips. Hashtag pain is not normal. We have to do better. I just want to ask everyone, please continue to follow us. You can subscribe to our YouTube page, Sisters Inspire Sisters. Kisha, we are definitely going to keep in touch, because we need to get a doctor on, and there's going to be a part 2 just to continue to talk about health, actually, our menstrual health, just health in terms of Black women and things that we can do to improve our health. And ladies, those of you that answered, fabulous that you're getting your annual exams done. Those of us that need to catch up and make sure we get them done, we are going to do that. Kisha, once again, goodness, now your BFF is here. Oh my goodness, I love it. Your BFF is here. When you have to make sure you go back and read the comments.
I will. I look forward to it. I want to just thank everybody for supporting me. And I thank you again for allowing me to share my story on this platform.
Thank you so much. Have a great evening, everyone. Thanks again. Please like, share, listen to the replay. And we'd love to have you join us at another Sis Table Talk. Have a great evening.
Good night, everyone.
Bye-bye.